Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate y'all being here on short notice, especially during the bye week. Before we talk about the trade deadline, I just wanted to express my deepest condolences to the Zimmer family and the NFL community on the loss of Adam Zimmer. And, I worked with Adam for 7 years with the Vikings, and Adam was an amazing football coach and developed the likes of Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks and Eric Wilson, just to name a few. But Adam was even a better person. And, my thoughts just go out to his dad, Mike, his entire family and everyone who knew him. So please just keep them in your prayers if you could. In terms of the trade deadline, I want to start by thanking Bradley Chubb for everything he's meant to the Broncos. Bradley was drafted, back in 2018, and he grew into a great player and leader for the Broncos, and he was equally as good in the community. And just the year and a half I've been with Bradley, he's been a definition of a total pro. Bradley's worked as hard as anyone in our building to become a great player, leader, captain for this team, and we're going to miss him. I'm going to miss him, and we wish him the best. The decisions like this, they're not easy, and there are a lot of considerations that go into something like this. It's very complex, but ultimately, we always have to do what's best for the team, and we don't make this decision if we're not confident in the players, in the coaches on our team. And that starts with the talented group of pass rushers I believe we have and the depth we have at that position. The draft value received was significant. We just felt it was too good to pass up at the end of the day. And it's no secret we need picks. And it's going to help us continue to build our football team. But one thing for certain, our goals, our expectations, they do not change. And we want to win, and we believe we can win. And more importantly, want to sustain success. And it's going to help us continue to build this football team moving forward. Not lost on the busy day, we added 2 players, and we're excited to welcome running back Chase Edmond from the Dolphins and outside backer Jacob Martin from the Jets. And I believe, both are going to help our football team. They're great people, great, good players. I think they're going to fit in with our depth. And we're excited for the second half of the year and look forward to seeing what we can do and building off that last win we had in London. And with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
We'll get started with Parker Gabriel, followed by Mike Kliss. Go ahead, Parker.
Yeah. Hey, George, can you just take us through sort of how the deal came together with Miami? And I'm sure they weren't the only team to check on him, and just what the tipping point was, because you could have talked to him about a, franchise tag, long-term deal, that sort of thing.
It really heated up this morning, and teams have been calling, throughout the, I would say the last week or so, but this morning, or when things heat up, and I didn't anticipate a deal getting done, and then this morning they heated up.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, George, I think for the long-term view of the Broncos from 2023 on, is almost a no-brainer here. But I was just wondering about the message, to the 2022 team, both the coaches and the players. This is the 4th time in 5 years the Broncos have been sellers, and 2 out of 2 for you. I'm sure you're not happy to be put in that situation, but what do you say to the current team?
Yeah, the message is we believe in this football team. We believe in the depth we had at outside linebacker, our young pass rushers. We've invested a lot in that position. We believe in the leaders on this football team, especially the defensive leaders we have, and DJ Jones and Josie Jewell and Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, just to name a few. And so we believe in this football team. We believe in our leadership. We believe in our depth. And at the end of the day, we just felt it was in the best thing for our football team moving forward.
Brandon Kristoff from KOA.
George, I know that obviously plenty of focus on Bradley and especially leading up to this, but we heard about some of your young receivers that other teams were interested in. How many calls and how serious did it get with some other players potentially getting moved or teams really wanting some of your other young talent?
We received a number of calls on our receivers, some other positions. We wanted to keep our young talent receivers. And I think we started to get some rhythm in the last game, versus Jacksonville. And we just feel good with where we're going. We're trending in the right direction with Jerry and Hamler and Cortland. And we didn't want to break that up. I think we have a good thing going. We're in it to win it moving forward. And so we kept all of our receivers.
Let's go. Eric Dalala, followed by Nick Kosmeyer. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, George, you mentioned the depth there at outside linebacker. Was some of it, Barron kind of developed maybe a little bit more quickly at outside backer than some people expected? Nick Benito's come on the last couple of weeks. Was that kind of a luxury that they, progressed a little bit faster than expected that let you make this deal?
No doubt. The play of Barron really the entire season. And then, Nick Benito's coming on, and you saw what he's done the last few games. And Jonathan Cooper, you've seen what he's done the last 2 years in his role. And, Randy Gregory, when he was healthy, one of the better pass rushers in the league, and he'll be back, we're hoping soon. And we traded for Jacob Martin, who's going to be another depth piece. A guy who can play special teams, can do multiple things. You can drop him in coverage, you can rush him. Another depth piece there. So that certainly contributed to us making a trade of this magnitude.
Go for it, Nick.
George, 2 quick questions. Did you ever get to a point of negotiations on a long-term contract with Bradley? And then do you expect Randy and Barron to be ready for Tennessee?
Right. I mean, I'm not going to get into any negotiations. We had discussions with Bradley and his representatives, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm not entirely sure on Barron and Randy. I think Barron will be ready, but I'm not. We'll see how the next week goes. And Randy, I believe he's going to take a little more time than that.
Go for it, Zach.
George, thanks for talking with us today. Would you have made this deal if you were 5-3 instead of 3-5? Can you just talk about the state of the team, where they're at, and why you made it?
We would have made this trade regardless. We just felt the value was too good. We believe in our young depth. We believe in our defense. We have other, moving forward, we have other holes to fill, and on the offensive side of the ball, and we would have made this trade regardless.
Let's go to Darren McKee. Go ahead, Darren.
George, you just said that you would do the deal regardless. I think the expectations from the fans were this was a playoff team this year, but it seems to me that you're saying that the expectations were set way too high by the fan base. This is a fan base that has walked out of multiple games and one-score games. What would you tell the fans in terms of what this is really all about?
I would tell them our goals haven't changed, and we feel we can still win moving forward. We feel we have depth at the outside linebacker position. We have a top 5 defense. We feel like the offense is trending in the right direction. We believe in our coaching staff. We believe in our players, and we feel like we can make a push in the second half.
If you no longer have a question, can you please lower your hand? Let's go to Jeff Legwall. Go ahead, Jeff.
Georgia, did they come at you with the first round pick, or did you ask for it? And would you have done it without the first round pick included?
Yeah, Jeff, I don't want to get into the negotiations. We would not have done it without a first round pick. That was obviously a key piece in the negotiation.
Let's go to Andrew Mason. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, George, looking kind of over the horizon a little bit. Draymond Jones has an expiring contract this offseason. Where does things stand with him, wanting him back? And do you guys regard him as a core player going forward?
We do. Draymond's, you saw how he played. I believe he's, going to be the defensive player of the week, if I'm not mistaken. He is one of our core players. We want Draymond here a long time. So we'll just leave it at that.
We've got time for 3 more. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, George, one player you guys didn't trade this week, and he hasn't been active the last few games, is Albert O. What do you envision his future, and were there any talks about possibly trading him?
We like Albert. He's young. He's talented. We feel we wanted to keep Albert. He has a lot of upside, and, he can help us in obviously the pass game, and he's getting better as a blocker. We like Albert. We wanted to keep Albert here. We believe in Albert. I know he hasn't played much lately. But we're going to need him, in the second half of the season.
Final 2, Sean Keeler and Arnie Stapleton. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, George, you talked about it in London, and I imagine the flight home was a lot more pleasant than going out, given that win. But is there anything you guys can do as a front office, either as a mandate or now you've made a move, obviously, to help this coaching staff, or what you want to see out of this coaching staff in the second half now that we're on a break?
Right. I think it's good for everyone to kind of get away and take a breath. I believe in Nathaniel, as I said, in London. They're going to work, the next couple of days, and we're all going to work, and they're going to do quality control. I believe in Nathaniel's coaches, and we're going to figure this out. And I like the way we're trending. We beat a good, Jacksonville is a talented football team, and I believe in our coaching staff.
Sorry, let's get two more in. Arnie Stapleton and Troy Rain. Go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, George, a little bit of a follow-up to Sean's question. Do you think it's imperative for Nathaniel to keep the play calling duties? I know that there was some speculation out there in the world that he might structurally change things, but is it important for your team and for him to keep the play calling duties and work his way through the speed bumps along the way here with Russ?
Yeah, those decisions are Nathaniel's. If Nathaniel thinks a change here and there is going to make us a better football team, obviously he'll make that change. Again, that's up to Nathaniel. Again, I'm confident in Nathaniel.
Finish this off, Troy.
George, what are the plans for Melvin Gordon with Edmonds arriving? How does that running back room now shake out?
Yeah, it doesn't affect Melvin at all. It just brings more competition. I think Edmonds complements what we have. He's a little different than what we have in Melvin. We like Melvin, and he's going to, he's going to be our starter. He and Latavius will rotate, and this will be another piece of the puzzle. So this will be a good complement.
George, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.